Welcome back to another edition of Maddie's Rap with author and storyteller Matt D. Talford. If you are new to my channel, welcome. And if you're a returning subscriber, welcome back, baby. Welcome back. Y'all know I love y'all, man. Y'all know I love y'all. Y'all are the juices to keep this engine running, okay? Because this ain't always easy content to deliver, okay? So you guys' feedback, your well wishes, all of the positive vibes you send this way help to energize the work that I do on this channel, okay? Now, what are we talking about today? Another Saturn video. Another Saturn video. Now, for those of you who did not or have not seen my two other Saturn videos, the first one was about a 2-hour and 44-minute live stream in which I did a deep dive illustrating how your Saturn placement shows you what your most difficult challenges are that you're going to have to face in life and the energy you need to use to overcome them, okay? And I included timestamps. Thanks to those of you who asked for timestamps. Those timestamps are now in that video, in both of these videos. So you guys check them out. But in that video, I talked about how your Saturn house is the area where you're going to have your most difficult challenge, okay? And the sign is the energy that you're supposed to use to overcome that challenge. In the second video, I pretty much laid it out for you. And this one, I'm looking at it on my screen here. This one was just under 38 minutes in length. This one talks about how your Saturn restrictions are there to protect you. They're God's way of protecting you from yourself, okay? So in the first video, and both of these have to do with the house. In the first video, I talked about how Saturn, the house that Saturn is in, is the area of life where you're gonna have your biggest challenge, okay? It is where your help is gonna come from, but it's also where your temptation is going to come from. They're going to come at you in that same energy, okay? Because the help is there to make sure you get through it, but the temptation is there to keep you stuck in it, okay? To keep you stuck in that karmic reincarnation loop. I'll talk about that in another video, perhaps. I know there are a lot of people out there that are teaching it wrong. They're saying things like, when you transition, don't walk to the light, walk to the dark, because walking to the light is what's going to put you back in. It's got nothing to do with that. Did you do what you came here to do? Okay? Did you pass the 5th grade? Did you complete the requirements to graduate from the 5th to the 6th grade? If you did not, you're going to come back and do the 5th grade again. But this time, we might give you a tutor that'll help you in the area where you were weak. That's kind of how this soul energy and the existence and the immortality of the soul works, okay? It is all about constant evolution, constant ascension, okay? Don't let any of these religious and what I call the triple B crew, the Bible browbeaters, don't let any of them tell you you live here once and then after that the whole scripture is misaligned, if you will. It's taken out of context. It's a poor translation. It's appointed to a man once to die and after death the judgment. That sounds so final, right? No. Everything in existence is cyclical. Energy is neither created nor destroyed. It only transforms. Now, what is created and destroyed is the form, the container, if you will. The form of the energy can be destroyed, but guess what? The energy itself is just going to move to a new form. That is the essence of the soul. All of us is energy. What you are looking at on the screen right now is simply a form of the energy that is me, okay? That is me. Anyway, let me get off that soapbox because I'm going to challenge myself to keep today's video under 30 minutes, okay? So anyway, that was the first video. In that second video, I talk about how the Saturn restrictions are there to protect us from us. And in it, I sort of mentioned being there to make sure that we stay on our soul's path, okay? But I didn't really go too deep into detail. I'm going to go a little bit deeper into detail in today's video. So, how do the Saturn restrictions, Matthew, make sure that we stay on our soul path? When I'm reviewing birth charts or doing natal chart consultations, the three of the energies that I look at with regards to purpose and destiny are Saturn, one, which I've covered in 2 videos. This is the third, but there are 2 more, and I sort of mentioned them in my last Saturn video. Those placements are your Pluto and your North Node, okay? Your Saturn restrictions keep you from being distracted in a way that would keep you from fulfilling the purpose that is there in your Pluto and there in your North Node. Now, what is Pluto? Pluto is what I like to call the destroyer. Pluto destroys but it doesn't destroy just to leave something destroyed. It transmutes, it transforms, it destroys that which does not work and replaces it with something else. It is the alchemist. This is why the ruling or the planet, the sign that Pluto rules over is Scorpio. Scorpio is the transmuter, is the transformer. People look at Scorpio because of the exual say in Pig Latin. Now, you know what? We all grown here. We all grown here. Listen, if YouTube, I ain't monetized anyway, so F it. Pluto, everybody looks at the sexual nature of scorpionic energy, but they do not look at the more important nature of the scorpionic energy, which is about transformation, about destruction and transformation. Okay, that is the energy of Pluto. Pluto is the destroyer and the transformer. Now, what does Pluto destroy? Pluto is known as the generational planet. The generational planet. Pluto takes 240 years to complete a cycle through the cosmos. 240 years to complete a cycle through all 12 signs. All right, so that's simple math to do. There are 12 signs. Okay, if Pluto takes 240 years to transit all 12 of the signs, that means that generally speaking, Pluto spends about 20 years in each sign. Now that can vary, that can fluctuate or whatever, but when it's completed its cycle, it's going to be make a complete cycle in roughly 240 years. Okay, now so Pluto is the destroyer. What I like to call Pluto is the generational curse breaker. Why? Because your Pluto sign and house gives you, well, let's move the sign to the side for a minute. Let's deal with the house. And this is not going to be a deep dive in Pluto because Pluto really deserves its own video, okay? Where I can go through all of the houses and all of the signs and kind of give you guys an in-depth look at how that affects you. I'm going to stay high level with this one today because I don't want this to be a deep dive. And actually, I'm not going to go deep on the North Node either. I've done several North Node videos, and I'm going to recommend a book that you guys can read that will give you more information on your North Node and how to deal with the energy that is presented in your North Node. Doesn't really get into the houses. It's more about the energy, the sign, okay? I'll recommend that book in the links in the description box below, alrighty? And I'll come back and talk about it at the end of this video. So when I get to the North Node section, I'll talk about that book. But getting back to Pluto, Pluto is what I like to call the generational curse breaker. And if you are a male, then your Pluto house deals with an area where the male lineage before you may have faltered, okay? The male lineage before you may have faltered. It could have been you that faltered in a previous lifetime, but I like to look at it as the male lineage before you, the male lineage, your ancestors. They tried, they failed, they just could not overcome in this particular area of life. So you come here as a champion selected by the Most High or by your ancestors or whomever, whatever energy present in the ether said, hey, and your higher self, you the chosen ones, right? Many are called, but few are chosen. Listen, you may have volunteered for it. You may have said, send me, I'll go. Send me, I'll go. Okay. So for whatever reason, you were the one chosen to champion that particular area. Okay. Because somebody before you failed. So whatever that house is, if you are a male, it had to deal with a failure of the masculine lineage, your paternal lineage before you, okay? You came here to correct that. If you're a female, it had to deal with a struggle or a failure of your maternal lineage, your female line before you, your predecessors. Could be your mom, could be your grandmother, your great grandmother, and back, all right? On the masculine side, if you're a male, could have been your father that failed in this area, your grandfather, your great grandfather, and on back. You're here to correct that. Will you correct it? We are free will beings, okay? We are free will beings, but I'm here to tell you, Saturn restricts you to keep you on that path. Now, you still have to do the work, right? If your mother restricts you from hitting that cookie jar until you cleaned your room up, guess what? Those cookies are there for you, but you still have to do the work to get them. If you don't clean your room, you don't get any cookies. And the same holds true of the Saturn house, okay? Whatever that area is, there are rewards that come from that particular area of life that is represented by that house. But you cannot unlock it until you have done the work. The tool for doing the work is the sign, okay? I've talked about that. Now let's get back to how Saturn works with Pluto and your North Node to keep you on track. I've already explained what the importance of your Pluto sign is. I like to call it the generational curse breaker. You're the one that's chosen to break the generational curse for something in that house. I'm not going to do a deep dive by running down those houses. I just wanted to put that out there. Your North Node, that is your soul's destiny, your purpose. What did you come here to do? Okay. Pluto, what did you come here to improve upon from your lineage, masculine or feminine, before you? North Node, what destiny did you come here to fulfill? That is going to be represented by the house and the sign. Remember, the sign is the energy, the house is the area of life. So Pluto, and I'm going to use myself as an example for you guys, and then you can apply this to your own natal charts. By the way, if you have not looked at your birth chart, you don't know what your natal chart looks like, there's a link to a free natal chart, a free basic natal chart calculator in the description box. You will need to know your date of birth, which everybody knows, the time of birth, and the birth location. So a lot of people, I've run across a number of people that know what day they were born, what date, month, day, year they were born, and what city they were born in, but they don't know the time. If you do not have the time, you cannot determine what your house layout is or what your house breakdown is. You won't know houses 1 through 12. And if you don't know the house, then you don't know the area of life where that energy should be focused into. You also don't know how you are on a day-to-day basis. Your first house or your rising sign, that is how you appear, okay? And I'm not going to run through all of those, but your second house is what you value, what you love, what you value. Your third house is the way you speak, communicate, think, learn, okay? Your fourth house is home. I said I wasn't going to do it. I'm doing it, right? Your fourth house is how you are at home, who you are at home. Your fifth house is the energy that you present via your passions, or how you compete, your romance, okay? The energy you use for romance and procreation, creativity, all of that is fifth house energy. Your sixth house is how you serve others, how you organize, how you go about being detail oriented, how you go about analyzing. That's your sixth house energy. Seventh house is how you are in partnerships. Okay. Could be business partnerships, could be family, could be wife, that type of wife, husband, that type of dynamic. Okay. Significant other, doesn't have to be married, significant other, whatever. Eighth house is how what you look like in the area of your sexual activity, or how that is for you. Eighth house is how you heal, how you transform, the things that you're attracted to, the things that you're magnetized to. Okay, your energy as a lover. Okay, not to be confused with the fifth house in romance. I'm talking about eighth house is ruled by Scorpio, so y'all use your imagination on that. Okay, now ninth house is that's the house of travel, house of higher learning. So that is how you interact with others that are not from where you are, how you interact with foreigners. What are your thoughts, your thoughts on religion, that sort of thing. What other things? Travel, all of that. That is your ninth house energy. When you get to the 10th house, that is how you present to the public. That is your house of career. It's also called your midheaven. How are you at work? How are you at work? Who are you at work? How do people that you work with look at you? How do they see you? That's the energy you put into your career, into your public life. That is your 10th house. Your 11th house is the house of humanitarianism. That is how you present in partnerships at a wider reach, a global scale, a greater collective. Who you are with collective work. Okay, it's very Aquarian, very altruistic. And your 12th house is I like to call it the house of spirituality. There are a number of things that have 12th house. It is your subconscious thoughts. It is how you dream. It is your connection to the ancestral realm. Okay, all of that. It's a glimpse into who you might have been in a past life. All of that is 12th house energy. Okay, so you can't know any of that if you don't know what time you were born. And so again, there's a link to a free natal chart calculator in the description box below, where you can just input your date of birth, the time, and the city, and then you'll get a birth chart spit out for you, and then you can save it, do whatever you want to do with it. But all of that to say, that house is super important to understanding your Saturn, understanding your Pluto, and understanding your North Node. Now, Matt, as a last thing that I'm going to go over here in this video, I'm going to give you guys a story, okay? A little bit of story time, and then I'm going to share with you something that I kept hidden from you guys in my last 2 Saturn videos. Now, for those of you that saw them, and there'll be links to those videos in the description box below, you know that I told you my Saturn sign, but I never told anybody the house, okay? So what I realized in rewatching those videos and contemplating this video today and a live stream that I'm going to do coming up, where I'm actually going to do live interaction with you guys, where you share what your, if you want to, only if you want to, you share what your Saturn sign and house is, and then what your Pluto sign and house is, and what your North Node sign and house is, and I can tell you how Saturn supports your destinies, okay? One is your destiny as a generational curse breaker or an improver, okay? That's your Pluto sign and house. The other is your destiny as far as what did you come here, what did your soul come here to experience? What did you come here to do? What is your life's work, okay? Not to be confused with the 10th house, that's your career, but that soul purpose can be found in your North Node, okay? All right, so now, you know that I didn't share the house. I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna stop holding y'all. I'm a Saturn and Gemini in the 8th house, okay? I'm Saturn and Gemini in the 8th house. Now, this is how that Saturn restriction supports, geez, I feel like I just took my shirt off or something. I feel like I just exposed myself to you guys. But anyway, listen, somebody's gonna learn from this, and I'm not the only person on planet Earth with a Saturn in the 8th house, okay? So, now, how did my 8th house restriction protect me from myself? Okay, how did it protect me from myself? Well, listen, when you are, first off, let's look at my, and I'm going to save the Pluto because that's going to get its own thing. But my Pluto, I came here to improve upon something that the males in my lineage did not do so well with, okay? And I'm here to tell you that if my 8th house were not restricted, I probably would have ended up being like them. I probably would have ended up going down a similar path as the men in my family before me, who were swashbucklers. These men were swashbucklers, okay? My male lineage, from the first line, my dad and uncles, on back to my grandfather, on back to my great-grandfather. Listen, they were dapper men. They were dapper. They loved the ladies, probably a little bit too much, okay? I don't mind sharing this because it's going to help somebody, all right? Probably loved them a little bit too much early on. And, you know, when you're like that, sometimes you leave a string of broken hearts, and that's not cool. But in addition to that, when I say swashbucklers, they were like pirates. They not pirates in the negative sense where they were into criminal activity. No, not that. I'm talking about they loved the ladies, they loved the alcohol, and they loved to fight. They loved to fight, okay? And some of them old school ones, my great-grandfather and before him, they ain't have no problem using a piece of steel, either steel with powder in it or sharp steel. They had no problem with that. So that was their, you know, thank God that kind of missed my dad, but my dad had no problem back in the day. He was known for his mano a mano skills, okay? He was known for that when he was younger. And he certainly instilled some of those lessons in me, and you know, saying, "Hey son, you know, you got to know how to defend yourself when you're out here." And I'm not boasting about any of that, but anyway, getting back to my 8th house. Listen, let's jump to my North Node. That was a little bit of my Pluto. I came here to improve upon something that perhaps they didn't do so well. I'll talk more about that because there could be something else with regards to my Pluto house that may have been a part of it, but it could have been a part of something bigger. Okay, but with my North Node in Capricorn, I've shared this with you guys before. I'm a North Node Capricorn in the 3rd house. Okay, so I'm pretty much who I am. My sun sign and house is the same as my North Node, so I pretty much that tells me I came here to be myself. Okay, I'm fully operating in my North Node energy right now. I have not always done it. I've done it in pieces. Okay, if I were to take you guys back down my career path, I was in the military. I was a medic. So was I Capricornian? A Capricorn is a sign of hard work and problem solving and overcoming tough obstacles. Yeah, I'm always a Capricorn. So yeah, I was a Capricorn in my career in the Army. But as far as using the voice, the communication, it was only a little bit. I mean, yeah, you got to talk to people when you're a medic. But as far as me doing something impactful with the voice, I would say the biggest impact I made in the Army with my voice was singing cadence. Okay. My fellow soldiers, they knew I could sing. They heard me singing in the barracks. So one day I got volunteered to sing cadence for my entire platoon, which was very large. And it kind of worked against my singing voice for a little while, but thank God I recovered. But yeah, no, my using my voice in the Army sounded like this. C-130 rolling down the strip. Airborne daddy gonna take a little trip. A mission top secret, destination unknown. Don't really know if we get back home. That kind of thing. Stand up, hook up, shuffle to the door. All right, let me stop. If my main don't open wide, I got another one by my side. If that one should fail me too, look out ground, I'm coming through. Tell my mama I did my best. Bury me in the leaning rest, cause I'm hardcore. Medic, fit to fight, out of sight. We train in the rain. All right, let me stop. Had a flashback. All right. Little Army cadence. That's how I use my voice in the Army, okay? Moving forward, getting out of the Army, I worked in healthcare. I worked at a hospital, ER, and I probably did the communication a little bit more, but the Capricorn energy was more focused in probably Virgo energy, probably more 6th house energy, because I was there helping with medical stuff. From time to time, I would stop and speak with the patients and just kind of talk with them, especially when there were y'all know, if you've ever been to an emergency room, you have these long lulls from getting from the waiting room to getting put into a bay for someone to come see you, and then you're in there for hours for something that probably could have taken about 10-15 minutes, to be honest. I mean, total time that you're interacting with the doctor, then getting your prescription and all of that and getting checked out. You probably could have had all that stuff done anywhere from 15 to 30 minutes, if it's not anything serious, okay? So, and a lot of people use the ER as urgent care, but anyway, from time to time, to keep people from getting restless, I would go to the different bays in the ER and just kind of pull up a stool and talk with them and just, find out about their life, share some stuff about me, and, just it would help to pass the time. So fast forward into a career in technology, I use the voice a lot more. Okay, I was in technology support, so I used the voice a lot more to problem solve. So that was pushing me closer to my North Node, but I really didn't hit my gear until I started, I wrote and published my first book, okay, which now I have 3 published, and I've got some more coming out this year, but, and then starting this YouTube channel, okay? So that is more of Capricorn in the 3rd house energy. So I'm in this now, but I'm here to tell you, if my 8th house had not been restricted, I probably could have been somewhere else doing something completely different. I could have been knocked off my course, especially for the Pluto, which I'm going to get into in a separate video. Now, I told you guys in that first video where I talked about your birth chart reveals your most difficult challenge to overcome. What is your weakness? All of that is your Saturn house, whatever that house is in Saturn. For me, it was the 8th house. How's that a weakness? Like I said, they probably, when they did my life review for my last life before I came to the earth this time, they probably looked and said, let's see, for what we need him to do, okay, yeah, yeah, 8th house, what house should we restrict for him? Well, he had a little bit too much fun his last lifetime in that 8th house, so yeah, we're going to restrict that one. We're going to make sure he doesn't have any fun until his work's over. And I got some stories to tell you. But now remember, this is just a little bit of a throwback to that first video, y'all. And I'm going to get ready to wrap up. In that first video, I told you that Saturn sign is the energy you're supposed to use to free yourself, okay? To free yourself from those restrictions. That's the energy you use to sort of clean up your room. That's the energy you use to do your homework. That is the energy that you use to do your chores. Whatever. I gave the example of the young lady who had a Saturn in Gemini in the 7th house, and how after watching that video, she was able to take that knowledge and apply it to some tough negotiations and break through. Because where she hit a brick wall where she would have normally just shut down and not asked any questions or not worked through it, she watched the video, understood that with Saturn, her Saturn sign being Gemini, and the 7th house being the house of partnership, she understood that, hey, this is a partnership scenario right here. I got to work through this using Gemini energy, communication, okay? Communication to gain understanding. That is Gemini energy, okay? So she did that and she got a win. I'm going to tell you that my using Gemini energy my entire life has made it easier. It has not been easy having an 8th house in Saturn, but I think I understand. And y'all, let me just say this as an aside. If you cannot see God in the design of you by looking at your birth chart, you're missing a beautiful picture. You're missing a beautiful picture. Because think about it. Being a North Node Capricorn in the 3rd house meant that my being a North Node Capricorn in the 3rd house meant that I needed to use my voice. That I needed to use my voice in order to problem solve, in order to achieve, in order to climb. That's Capricorn energy, okay? For you to be on a public platform, for you to be successful in that, it helps when you are designed in such a way that people actually want to talk to you, that they want to talk to you, okay? That people either want to talk to you or want to listen to what you have to say. So how did that design work out for me? I was born as a 1st house Libra. Libra risings have a reputation for having charm. Libra risings have a reputation for being charming, being handsome if they're a man, or attractive or pretty if they're a woman, having a very soft and alluring voice. That is something that are characteristics of Libra rising. So now watch this. Being blessed as a 1st house, and whatever your 1st house is, it doesn't matter. You are who you are. You were created for a specific, unique purpose that is specific to you. But being given a 1st house or an ascendant in Libra, can you imagine how much more difficult? Can you imagine me trying to complete what my soul's work was, my destined path was, especially with that Pluto, which I'm going to share in another video? Can you imagine doing what I came here to do if that 8th house weren't restricted? I can tell y'all, listen, I can't tell y'all some of the stories that I've had, or I can't tell y'all some of the stories of things that have been offered to me by very beautiful women my entire life, okay? That in using Gemini energy, I was able to, Gemini, for me, I'm going to talk to you. I want to have a conversation. I'll have a conversation with just about anybody. I'll talk to just about anybody as long as they're not giving off any low vibrational vibes, okay? They're not like evil, just dark, whatever. But if they're, generally speaking, I'll talk to just about anybody. Because through talking, you gain understanding. Through talking, you gain understanding. So by my gaining understanding, I was able to avoid situations that would have knocked me off my soul path. And I hear again, I am restricted in the 8th house in Saturn, okay? And remember what I said in those other 2 videos. Those restrictions are not permanent, okay? They can be permanent. If you live your whole life and never clean your room, if you live your whole life and never do your chores, then you're never going to get the rewards that come after completing the task, okay? You're never going to get those. You transition and you get to come here and start over and do it again. Well, you know what? We want your soul to ascend, we want you, the soul, to ascend, but you didn't finish your work. So you got to go back there and finish what is down here on this contract for you to finish. You don't get to just breach your contract and walk away from it. It doesn't work like that in the realm of souls. You're going to go back and complete that work. Who wants to keep doing the same thing over and over? Y'all watch that movie Edge of Tomorrow. I'm always plugging that movie because it's a great illustration of the continuity of the soul and the eternity of the soul, and how we have to continue doing things that we were tasked to do until we complete them. So with that being said, I want to share one more funny story with you guys, and I really didn't give you a story. I just kind of give you a little background. But this is where that Gemini or that Saturn and Gemini in the 8th house block first showed up in my life. This is where it first showed up. So when I was a little boy, I had and I'm not boasting in saying this, it's just fact, okay? I was in a gifted and talented program in the school district where I was raised at in New York, Long Beach, New York. I was in the gifted and talented program. In fact, I was the first so-called black kid in that program ever, in the history of that program. And it was a little bit of a struggle to get me in there. That's a long story in and of itself, that's a whole different story. I won't bring that up here. But thank God for my teacher, Miss Levy. I don't even know if she's here among us anymore. She was a little bit, she had white hair back then. So, but Miss Levy, she and my mom, they went to bat to make sure I got in there. She was like, Matthew needs to be in that program. So anyway, I say that to say, I had at the, when in elementary school, I could read at a high school level in elementary school. I was a great reader. I learned early on. My dad taught me how to use the dictionary, and any words that I did not know the definition of, I just looked them up in the dictionary. But as far as enunciation and reading words, I was a spelling bee champion a couple times. reading part was nothing for me. It goes with the territory because I'm a writer, right? So it goes with it. All of that's third house energy anyway. But and I'm a Capricorn in the third house, right? So anyway, so there's this one day I got this inquisitive mind, and remember, it's my 8th house that's blocked, right? 8th house. Y'all put that where it goes. One day, my parents were somewhere. They were gone or something, but I was at the house and me and my brothers were there. And, I remembered walking into their bedroom and, they had the closet door open. And at the top of the closet, I could see the spine of this big, thick textbook. And that spine read human sexuality. So, now, I mean, you can't listen. When you're a kid growing up in New York in the 70s, you're exposed to all manner of things. So you already know what that word means. When you're in elementary school, you already know what that word means. So I remember seeing that book, and I said to myself, I said, man, one day when they leave, I'm gonna go get a chair, and I'm gonna put the chair up in the closet, and I'm gonna stand up in that chair, and I'm gonna grab that book, and I'm gonna bring it down, and I'm gonna read it. But I wasn't trying to read it to read the text because I didn't care about that. I'm trying to look for some little drawings of naked women. That's what I'm trying to see in there. Just, I'm being a little New York kid, and so I'm trying to see something. I'm trying to see what pictures are in this book. I want to see if they're gonna show me something. And the reading takes over. The curiosity in the reading takes over. And I remember reading in that book that when a boy hits puberty, which happens anywhere between the ages of 11, late 10, early 11 to 12 to 13, somewhere around in there, he becomes active. His sperm becomes active, and he can impregnate a girl. And let me tell you something. That put the fear of God in me. That put the fear of God in me. And I was what my grandmother and my aunts used to call fresh. That was the word they used in the back in the 70s. They called you fresh if you was trying to mess with the girls and stuff when you were young. They called you fresh, or they called you mannish. They said you were trying to be mannish, little stuff like that. But when I read that book, I believe that book was placed in front of my eyesight from the angelic realm. I was meant to see that book because when I read that book, I didn't want to touch no girls because I was scared, and I wasn't even active yet. I wasn't even at puberty yet, but I never forgot that. So when I got to the age where my peers were becoming active, I ain't want no part of that because I never forgot that. And I'm like, man, if I get a girl pregnant, then my dad gonna make me go take care of the baby, and I ain't gonna be able to work and go do whatever it was I want to do. Like, I thought I wanted to go to college. I ended up going into the Army. I went to college after I got out of the Army using the Army GI Bill in the college fund. But I just felt like that was going to sidetrack my whole life, and I was like, I don't want to be taking care of no kid. Because listen, my parents were 16 and 17 respectively when I was born. Like, my mom was 16 and my dad was 17 when I was born. So they had me young. I was like, I ain't about to do that. I ain't trying to do that. I want to get out of this house and go do my own thing. Me and my older brother, we used to talk about that when we were kids. My older brother, we like, yo, man, I can't wait to graduate high school so I can go da-da-da-da-da. And for me, I was like, I want to go da-da-da-da-da. But I did not want to touch no girls. I was so scared. So that locked up my 8th house. After that, even though, and I don't want to get too personal in here, y'all, but listen, if you meet anybody with Saturn in the 8th house, I promise you can probably stretch out your palm, look down at your 4 fingers and your thumb, count all them five digits, look at your 5 fingers, and I promise you, they probably have had fewer partners than than the digits you can count on your hand. All right, I can tell you that. So when I would talk to girls, talk to the ladies and stuff when I was younger, nobody believed me. They just say, "Oh, you're lying," whatever. No, I'm not. Here's the evidence. Got Saturn in the 8th house. So anyway, I say that to say, when you look at your design, if I were not restricted in the 8th house with the attention I've gotten from the opposite sex my whole life, I probably would have made some of the same mistakes that my predecessors before me made. And I know now at this age, definitely at this age, I know now that I've known it for a while. It's not just the age I'm at now. I've known for a while that I came here to be different. And I came here to be different, y'all. I don't know, that's something that was in me from the time I was a child. I just watching the sadness and how some of the women in my family were treated. You know, my mom, aunts. I'm not getting too personal on here. Mommy, I ain't telling no details, all right, if you're watching this. But yeah, just watching how some of them were treated by the masculine energies in my lineage. I just didn't want to do that. I didn't want to do that, and I didn't want to be that. So the eighth house restriction actually ended up being a gift to me. It was a gift. So don't despise that. Whatever your Saturn, whatever house that your Saturn is in, y'all, I'm here to tell you, don't despise that. Don't despise that, because that Saturn is there. That Saturn restriction is there to make sure that whatever you've got in your Pluto, whatever house you have Pluto in, and whatever house you have your North Node in, is there to support those missions. Those are your mission statements. Your mission statements are your Saturn, your Pluto, and your North Node. Okay, you can do some different stuff with Neptune. All of those outer planets have special, unique purposes. You can look at your Neptune for one thing, and you can look at your Uranus for another thing. I may one day do videos on those, but for some reason, the spirit of the Most High has me delivering this content on Saturn right now, and it could have to do with the fact that we're in a Saturnian year. Okay, this is the year where things are turning around. Okay, people who have been under bondage are being set free now, and a lot of that being set free is being set free in the mind. So this is the year where, and I'm here to tell y'all, there have been centuries of lies told about Saturn, making Saturn, that energy, look like it's dark. Even though when you compare Saturn to Jupiter in the nighttime sky, Jupiter is this bright star, and then Saturn is this dim star that's a little bit further away from it. Even though Jupiter outshines Saturn, Jupiter outshines most of the lights in the sky. I think the exceptions are probably, I think the exception is Venus, and that's the love frequency, right? So nothing is higher than the love frequency. I think the only thing that outshines Venus in brightness might be the sun. And, you know, it's difficult to tell with the full moon because the full moon is so much bigger than Venus in the nighttime sky. But the moonlight appears soft compared to Venus. That light from Venus is just super bright, and the only thing brighter that I've seen is the sun. Sirius is bright, Jupiter is bright, but I don't think Venus. I don't think there's anything brighter than Venus. But anyway, y'all, I'm rambling. I said I was gonna keep this under 30 minutes, and I'm over 30 minutes now, so I will keep it under 40. All right. So listen, guys, that's it. I wanted to just show you quickly, which didn't turn out to be quickly. Maybe it was the story time that took me over. I don't know. But I'm a storyteller, and we ramble sometimes. But anyway, the Venus, I'm sorry, not Venus. The Saturn is a benevolent energy. It has been treated for the longest like it's been, you know, a malefactor, but it is a benefactor. It's just, it appears like it's a malefactor because you're restricted, and Saturn is slow-moving energy. Saturn in Gemini. Gemini is ruled by Mercury, which is a fast-moving planet. But when Saturn is in the sign of Gemini, Saturn is going to take its time. It's going to stay in Gemini for that amount of time, y'all. It's going to stay in Gemini for a long time. So about what, 2 years, 2.5 years, 2 to 2.5 years, something like that. So yeah. So I've had to learn patience with a Saturn in Gemini, and that is something that I've had to develop over the years. I never was a patient person. I was always like, nah, well, I'm ready to move. I'm ready to go. And I don't even know where that energy comes from, to be honest. Anyway, I've always been impatient, but Saturn in Gemini forces you to be patient, especially where that house is, okay? Where that house is. And so again, to recap that first video, you have to use that energy that is your Saturn sign to illustrate mastery of the lessons of the house area where you're being restricted. I think I've done that quite well. So anyway, I'm going to end this video here and let you guys know I'm going to be doing, I mentioned that I would be telling you the book. There is a book. It is titled Astrology of the Soul. Astrology of the Soul, and it is by Jan Spiller. There'll be an image on the screen and a link in the description box. Please use the link in the description box if you want to purchase that book. Maybe I'll do a link to the paperback and the ebook. I have the ebook, but please use that affiliate link so that I get credit for recommending you guys to that book. So I appreciate it if you want to read that book. I recommend it if you want to understand your North Node a lot better than you do, perhaps. So check that book out. That book is going to give you a lot of information that is going to help you understand your soul's destiny and purpose a lot more. But again, I want to let you know that Saturn protects you from messing up your soul's destiny, but you still have to do the work. Those destinies can be found in your Pluto and your North Node, okay? My North Node, Capricorn in the 3rd house, my destiny, my soul's purpose was to use the voice to either solve some problem, to use the voice in there, to use the voice is also it maybe to again, problem solving is the energy of Capricorn. The 3rd house energy is the energy of Gemini. It's also the energy of learning. Gemini is about learning. It's the student. It's the information. Maybe I'm supposed to behave as a Capricorn to learn differently, or to show people different ways they can learn, or show people different things they can learn, because that is perfectly opposes my Mercury, which is your speech, being in Sagittarius. Sagittarius and Gemini are on the same axis. Gemini is the student, Sagittarius is the teacher. I won't redo that. I've done that. I've mentioned that in a number of videos. So anyway, without that 8th house restriction, I probably could have fumbled the ball somewhere along the line and not been here doing what it is that I'm doing right now, and that is using my voice to maybe hopefully solve a greater problem. I don't know. I mean, I'm an 11th house Virgo. Virgo is about the sign of service, and the 11th house is humanitarian. So all of that stuff goes together. All of it goes together. You are uniquely designed, okay? You are uniquely designed, and all of your placements support you in making sure that you fulfill the purpose for which you came to this earth, okay? Okay? So that's all I got for you guys. Listen, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up, and share it with somebody that you think may need to understand their Saturn placements more. It's time to turn this thing around, y'all. This is a Saturnian year, and I think that the Most High, the Spirit of Truth, I like to call the universal I Am presence. I also like to call him or her, the Spirit of Truth, however you want to do it. If you're talking about truth, it's the him. If you're talking about wisdom, it's the her. If you know, you know, okay? But the Spirit of Truth and righteousness, the universal I Am presence, God, source, the universe, whatever you guys want to call it, the divine, whatever instrument, whatever name, whatever moniker you guys use to what's the word I'm looking for? To label or whatever what you see as God in your own life. Whatever label you use, that's your business. But I'm here to tell you that I feel like that energy wanted to, this is a year where things are turning around. It's a very Saturnian year. It's a Scorpionic year where truths are being revealed. Okay, things are being brought out of the darkness into the light, and one of those things is a true understanding of what Saturn, what the energy of that Saturn placement is for. It is there to protect you from you and make sure that you do your work. Okay, so now that I've done 3 videos, I can't see me doing another Saturn video. I'll probably do a Pluto video, and I don't think I need to do anything in the North Node. You guys can read that book. One thing I don't do is reinvent the wheel. If somebody did it already and they did it in a way that's really good, I don't need to come back behind it. I'll refer you to that person. So y'all check out that book by Jan Spiller, Astrology for the Soul. And then I'll do a video on Pluto breaking down how the houses tell you what generational challenge you came here to champion for your ancestral lineage. I'll do a separate video on that. And then again, I want to do a live with you guys where we interact, and maybe you guys, if you want to share and get some advice on what is your with your Saturn placement in house, your Pluto placement, and your North Node placement. If you guys want to volunteer that live and we have a conversation or whatever, I'll do however many, I'll do it until the Spirit leads me to shut it off, like I should do this video, because now I'm over 40 minutes. Matt, let's end it, y'all. Listen, if you're new to the channel and you like being if you're new to the channel and you like being entertained, educated, uplifted, inspired, motivated, look no further than right here. Hit that subscribe button and make sure you have your notification bell set to all so that you'll be notified when I upload new content, okay? And last but not least, I'll end this video like I end them all. Tell somebody you love them and mean it. How do you mean it? You have to show it. Love is a verb. It is a noun as well, but when we focus on the verb, the noun always takes care of itself. I love you guys. Peace.